I want to bring Mark back in on this, please, and I'm going to talk to you, sir, about H.R. 1. In the Constitution, our founding fathers gave us a remedy here. Article 5 of the Constitution gives states the power to call a convention, and that convention is designed to pass constitutional amendments to rein in federal power. Explain that to people who may not know what that means and how that would relate to what's happening in this administration.
Yeah, in 1787, right before the end of convention, Colonel George Mason from Virginia stood up and he asked the delegates a question. They hadn't given the right to states to propose amendments. And he asked them if they were so naive that they believed that a federal government that had become a tyranny would ever propose amendments to restrain their own tyranny. The answer was so obvious that there was no debate. Madison's notes say nin com at that point, no comment. And it was unanimously adopted to give us the right as states, as citizens of the states, to propose through our state legislatures a convention for proposing amendments to restrain federal tyranny. Today, that's underway. Our organization, conventionofstates.com, has over 5 million people engaged. We're in every state legislative district in the nation, and we are pushing a call for convention. Over 15 states have already passed this call, and the call is essentially the convention could discuss anything to impose term limits on federal officials, fiscal restraints on the federal government, or scope and jurisdictional restraints on the federal government.
How many states do you need, Mark?
You have to get to 34 states. It's 2/3 is the requisite in the Constitution. So we're almost halfway there. Right now, I have 20 states that are in consideration. I expect that we'll pass at least 5 to 6 states this year, taking us well past the halfway mark.
That's great. John Graves, I want to bring you in on this. Thomas Jefferson also referred to the federal government where states were concerned as a foreign power. That's something that you don't hear much today, is it, John?
No, and you know what's interesting is you mentioned it earlier, they're building walls around D.C. and then they're trying to control everything from D.C. We don't want you to come here. We don't want you to get in. We're going to open the borders, close D.C., and then we're going to control everything to D.C. I would encourage every one of our listeners to go support conventionofstates.com, go read them, find them, and call your state House member and state Senate member and say, I want our state to get involved in this if they're not already in it. What we're seeing across this country right now is this battle. It's Convention of States. It's also a lot of the states are pushing back against men and girls sports, against tyranny, against how they vote, the Constitution that the states are supposed to do it. And what's happening is the federal government, with the story you just covered, H.R. 1, they want to control all of it. And so it's the states that really are the most impactful thing a person can do right now to make a difference.
It's in great big letters, isn't it? John, it's in great big letters, and it says "We the People" at the top of that document.
That's right. That's right. And it starts local, but your states are the best way. You can see what's happening, not just with this current administration, but think about it from this standpoint. When you call somebody, look at all these votes. Mike just said it in the story. There was not a single Republican who voted for this because it wasn't mostly COVID. It was to bail out a bunch of Democrat states. You can call your federal representative. It doesn't do as much if you call your state representative to say, number one, stand against these federal rules and get something passed in our state. And number two, be part of this Convention of States. Okay, that's the most impactful thing our listeners can do.
That's true. And they always are asking, that's the number one email I get, what can we do? We feel helpless. So Mark, I want to pitch it to you one more time real quick here about your website and what they can do.
I agree with that. Being involved is the thing. Watching TV and just being frustrated isn't going to solve anything. So folks go to conventionofstates.com. They can get signed up. Then I recommend they hit the Take Action tab. They sign up, they volunteer. And by the way, it's not just the Convention of States. We're actually engaged in elections in certain states across the country. Get out the vote. We're involved in election integrity and election reform. So if you want to be involved in the solution, if you want the solution as big as the problem, go to conventionofstates.com.
There you go. Well, people ask all the time, and now we've given you some homework for you to do. Mike, I want to pitch it back.
I'm here live in Philadelphia at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. When you hear the phrase lives, fortunes, and sacred honor, these are the folks we should think of, those who anonymously gave their lives. Well, today you have a chance to volunteer. You need to volunteer for conventionofstates.com, the movement that's going to save the country. These folks are willing to step up and give everything. We need you to give just a little bit. Go to conventionofstates.com and volunteer today.